Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. It is the discussion of MDCAT paper which was conducted in 2018 by UHS. Let's move to the question number one. Question number one from the cell biology portion is that lipid synthesis or lipid metabolism is the function of. It is a function of smooth endoplasmic reticulum, which is concerned with lipid synthesis as well as lipid metabolism. So right option over here is alpha, while it is also involved in the detoxification process as well as calcium storage. Fatty acid metabolism is a function of mitochondria. In Golgi apparatus, we know they have cell secretions as a major function. Question number two, the ability to distinguish between two separate points. As far as microscope is concerned, this portion has been excluded from this year PMC and MDCAT syllabus. But the right option over here is delta, it's a resolution part. So right option is delta. In cross section, each centriole consists of 9 each in triplets of, and these 9 triplets of microtubules are found in centrioles, as you can see in this diagram as well. And a pair of centriole is found in a non-dividing cell. Ribosomes are made up of 2 major components. One of them is ribosomal RNA and other is ribosomal proteins. So right option is Charlie. Number 5, which statement is correct about mitochondria and chloroplast? Mitochondria and chloroplast, the number of mitochondria and chloroplast, they may vary. That's why alpha is not the answer. Chloroplast and mitochondria double membranous structures. That's why beta is not the right option. But Charlie, chloroplast and mitochondria cannot live independently. Once they were capable of doing that, but now through a long evolutionary history, they have developed endosymbiosis with the other cells. That's why they're living within the cells of plants and animals. Charlie is the right option. And 70s ribosomes is attached with the inner membrane of mitochondria and chloroplast. They may be found attached with the inner membrane of mitochondria, but it is rare that 70s ribosomes are attached on the inner side of chloroplast as well. So Charlie seems the best option over here. It was the right option chosen by UHS as well in their answer key. Number 6, these structures are involved in the breakdown of older organelles. These are obviously lysosomes which perform autophagy or autophagocytosis. Leucoplasts, they are involved in storage functions. Peroxisomes, formation and decomposition of hydrogen peroxide, and glycosomes, conversion of fatty acid into carbohydrates. So right option is delta. They are involved in autophagocytosis. Tonoplast bounds which organelle? It's the name of the membrane of vacuolar membrane. So right option is delta over here. Number 8, the cisternae break up into vesicles from which side of the Golgi apparatus? They fuse from the outer side, that is convex, and break off from the inner side, that is concave and maturing. So right option is delta, that they break into vesicles from outer side. Outer side is concave as well as maturing. As you can see over here, the inner side is also known as cis phase, from where incoming vesicles, transport vesicles from SCR they're coming, and outer side is also known as trans phase, which is concave as well as maturing. Number 9, site of protein synthesis in a cell is obviously ribosomes, and site for the ribosome synthesis is nucleolus, beta. Biological molecules, the temperature that promotes the maximum activity of enzymes is referred as optimum temperature. In the same way, the pH which is most suitable pH for enzyme activity is optimum pH. But here beta is the right option. The number and sequence of amino acids along a polypeptide chain is called their primary structure. Their configuration into helical or pleated form is secondary, while globular configuration of single chain is tertiary and globular configuration of more than one chain, it forms quaternary structure. And Charlie is the right option over here. As you can see, the primary structure of insulin in this case. There are two chains. Alpha chain contains 21 amino acids, and beta chain, which is having more amino acids, is having 30 amino acids. Which of the following is unsaturated fatty acid? Unsaturated fatty acids are those which are having double bond, carbon-carbon double bond is found in oleic acid at point carbon number 9 and 8. That's why oleic acid is unsaturated, while stearic having 18 carbon, palmitic having 16, and butyric having 4. They are the examples of saturated fatty acids. Number 13, glycosidic bond is formed by the removal of water when two monosaccharides they combine with each other, and it is a common reaction which takes place while in the combination of different types of biological molecules such as amino acids, nucleotides, or even fatty acids reacting with the glycerol. Which of the following holds alpha helix of protein in its place? The secondary structure is held due to hydrogen bonds, so alpha is the right option. And this hydrogen bond, it is formed between amino group hydrogen of one amino acid and oxygen of carboxylic acid. So two groups they participate in this hydrogen bond, and this hydrogen bond is different from the hydrogen bond of tertiary or quaternary level, which is formed in arch chain or arch chain atoms. Number 15, tail vertebrae. They are located in coccyx or tail vertebrae. They're found in the pelvic region. This question has been excluded from the course contents of this year. So right option is Charlie. A complete turn of the double helix of the DNA comprises of 3.4 nanometer, and it contains 10 base pairs in this area. Single ring pyrimidines are uracil, cytosine, and thymine, while double ring they are known as purines and includes adenine and guanine. Right option over here is alpha. Number 18. Which lipid is totally hydrophobic or insoluble? Hydrophobic or insoluble lipid is actually triglycerides, but somehow waxes as well as terpenoids, they are also insoluble. As far as the right option is concerned, this question can be more appropriate way, in more appropriate way can be asked in this way that which lipid is totally hydrophobic or insoluble, with the exception that all of the following lipids, such as triglycerides, waxes, and terpenoids, they are insoluble as well as hydrophobic in water, but phospholipids having some polarity at their head end may show some sort of attraction towards water at the polar end. So all of the following are hydrophobic or insoluble except phospholipids, but UHS, it gave the right option to the triglycerides. So according to the UHS question, UHS answer key, the answer was triglycerides. A non-protein part essential for proper and essential functioning of enzyme is cofactor. And if a molecule can bind to the other side of an enzyme rather than true active site, it is referred as allosteric inhibition or non-competitive inhibition. Allosteric inhibition is sometimes not mentioned at this level as the right statement, because all sites which are other than active site that where a molecule can bind for regulation is also allosteric regulation. But in this case, as far as FSC PTB book was concerned, the Charlie option was more suitable answer according to the textbook. That's why it was preferred. So Charlie is the right answer. The region of the chromosome, more specifically the length of DNA molecule, which is a particular base sequence, is referred as gene, while paired genes, they are also known as alleles, and locus is a position on the chromosomes. Kinetochore is the area or region of centromere where spindle fibers are attached. Number 22, crossing over takes place during which phase? It takes place during prophase 1 of meiosis, and synthesis of microtubules, it increases in pre-mitotic phase, that is G2 phase, and microtubules are required for the formation of spindle fibers, which will assist in movement of chromosomes during M phase. In viruses, a combined structure formed by nucleic acid and capsid is known as nucleocapsid. Lysogenic viruses, they are also known as prophage viruses because they form prophage by incorporating their own DNA with the bacterial DNA. This portion has also been excluded in the recent syllabus. At the last step of glycolysis, which of the following compound is formed? It is definitely pyruvate because one glucose molecule is broken down to form two pyruvate during glycolysis. Number 27, NADP, which is a coenzyme in photosynthetic reactions, nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate is a carrier of hydrogen in its reduced form. In aerobic respiration, pyruvate is completely converted to form CO2 and water, while in case of anaerobic respiration, it may form ethanol, it may form lactic acid depending upon the type of cells. Right option is alpha in this case. Number 29, there is a site of light-independent reactions. Light-independent reactions or dark reactions, they take place in stroma of the chloroplast. While the site for the light reaction is thylakoid membrane. So right option in this case is Charlie. The enzymes required in glycolysis, they are present in cell cytoplasm, while the enzymes for cell secretions, they are the part of Golgi apparatus. Respiratory enzymes are found in mitochondria. When we extract carotenoids from its source, we see that it is yellow to orange red in color. So right option is delta. As you can deduce over here, that carotenoids, they absorb other wavelengths of light. The yellow color is showing the absorption spectrum of carotenoids, but carotenoids actually reflect yellow to orange red wavelengths of light. That's why they appear yellow to orange or red in color. Number 32. The enzymes required for Krebs cycles are definitely found in mitochondrial matrix because it is a reaction which takes place in mitochondrial matrix. F1 particle is a ATP synthesizing enzyme or ATP synthase complex. Lysosomes involved in intracellular digestion and autophagy. Cytoplasm for other functions like glycolysis. The low level of surfactants produced by alveolar epithelium can cause RDS, respiratory distress syndrome. This portion has also been excluded in the recent syllabus. Gradual breakdown of the alveolar wall leads to which type of disease in smoker? It leads to emphysema. The K16 part has been removed in the latest revision of the syllabus for MDCAT students by PMC. Number 35, which of the following statement is correct about respiratory pigments? Respiratory pigments, myoglobin is having more affinity for oxygen as compared to hemoglobin. During breathing, air from pharynx enters to the trachea. So right option is alpha. From the next part, transport in humans, it is the compulsory part of syllabus in this year as well. Which one of the following cells does not have a nucleus? Eosinophils are having a 3 to 5 lobe nucleus, 2 to 3 lobe nucleus. Basophils having slightly lobed nucleus. Neutrophils 3 to 5 lobed. And platelets are actually the fragments of cells which are without nucleus. So right option in this case is delta. 38. Which statement is correct about atrial systole? During atrial systole, atria they contract and ventricles they relax. So right option is beta. And the duration for atrial systole is 0.1 second. As you can see in the second diagram, the thickest chamber of the heart is left ventricle, and it pushes the blood towards aorta and then towards the body parts. Which one of the following act as pacemaker in the heart? It is sinoatrial node, which is modified form of sinus venosus in animals as well as in human. In immunoglobulin antibodies, two light chains and two heavy chains, they are linked to each other by disulfide bridge or disulfide bond. So right option is delta. Number 42, antivenom serum given after a snake bite is the artificial treatment, but you know antivenom serum is having antibodies, so artificial and passive treatment or immunity will be the right option, delta. As you can see, natural active immunity and artificial active immunity, it includes the injection of antigens either artificially or naturally, but passive immunity in natural ways is obtained from mother through placenta or through breastfeeding, or artificial passive immunity is the injection of antibodies from an artificial source. Cell-mediated immune response is given by, cell-mediated response is the property of T lymphocytes, while B lymphocytes, they are concerned with humoral response. Number 44, process ensuring the survival of species over a long period of time, even though individual members of the species die, is reproduction. So alpha is the right option. Which of the following hormone acts on the uterus wall for thickening? There are two hormones which act on the uterus wall for thickening. In proliferative phase, it is estrogen, while it is progesterone in case of luteal or secretory phase. So right option in this case is alpha. As you can see, progesterone, it is acting in the second phase, second event, while estrogen, it is causing thickening in the proliferative phase. Maximum thickening is anyhow caused by progesterone during secretory or luteal phase. Zona pellucida is the layer around egg, and follicle stimulating hormone, it is acting on the ripening follicles for their development. Oxytocin is not concerned over here, but that hormone is involved in delivery process or as well as in ejection of milk. Number 46, in human, female egg is fertilized in the proximal part of oviduct near ovaries, while division starts over here in the oviduct and implantation takes place in the uterus. Number 47, which hormone is released in female in response to follicle stimulating hormone from pituitary gland? It is estrogen, which is released from uh, pituitary gland. It is released from lining of, it is released from follicles, ripening follicles. So pituitary gland was not a suitable option over here, but not a suitable part in this statement, but it was the actual statement from UHS, and they marked estrogen in their answer key. So right option in this case is alpha, but stay assured that estrogen is not released from pituitary gland. It is released from ripening follicles in response to FSH. Number 48. Keeping correct balance of ions and water in our body is called osmoregulation. Number 49. When filtration is completed, the waste products through distal tube of nephron, they empties to the collecting tubules. As you can see, the distal tubules are emptying into the collecting duct or collecting tubule. The capillaries of glomerulus, which is the first network of capillaries around nephron, they rejoin to form an efferent or exiting arteriole. So right option is alpha, while arteriole, which is entering into the glomerulus or incoming blood vessel, is afferent. Number 51, urea cycle is the detoxification of ammonia into its less toxic form, that is urea, and it takes place in the hepatocytes or liver cells. Parathormone hormone production is controlled by the blood calcium level because calcium is primarily regulated by two hormones, calcitonin, which lowers down, suppresses the calcium level, and it is released if the calcium level is above set point. But if calcium level falls below set point, parathyroid gland is stimulated to release parathormone, which ultimately increases blood calcium level. Number 53, blood solute potential is controlled by following hormone. Blood solute potential is regulated by vasopressin by promoting reabsorption of water in the condition when our body is lacking water or having low water potential, and ultimately solute potential is rising. So right option is delta. Which hormone causes the contraction walls of uterus during the process of birth? It is oxytocin. How many sodium ions are pumped out in response to two potassium ions which are pumped in? It is beta. Three sodium ions, they are pumped out. Number 56, taste buds on the tongue. They are the examples of chemoreceptors. And number 57, in nervous system, chemical messengers, they are known as neurotransmitters, which are used in chemical synapses. Dash hormone is released from the posterior lobe of pituitary gland. It is antidiuretic hormone. Actually, posterior lobe releases two hormones, ADH and oxytocin, which are synthesized in the neurosecretory cell of hypothalamus. They're stored in posterior lobe and then they're released from the posterior lobe of pituitary. The hormone which controls the uptake of sodium ions in the kidneys and its maintenance in blood plasma is aldosterone by acting on the ascending limb in the loop of Henle. When a nerve impulse jumps from one node to the other in the node of Venn diagram of neurons, it is called saltatory conduction. Saltare is a Latin word which refers to the jumping. Actually, it is a change in membrane potential across the nodes only. Chance of a crossover between two loci is directly proportional to their distance. More distant are the genes, there are more chances of having recombination frequency or recombinants among them. More closer in the genes, there are lesser chances of their separation. Which one of the following is multiple allelic character? It is a blood group of human being which is controlled by single gene I with three multiple forms or three alleles. And out of these three alleles, only two exist in an individual at a time. Number 63, there are dash linkage groups in human. The linkage group is directly related to the number of homologous pairs, and it is delta 23. 23 are the linkage groups and 23 is the number of homologous pairs. Number 64, when two or more alleles do not show complete dominance or both alleles are expressing independently in heterozygous condition, such condition is called codominance, such as in case of AB blood group. When A and B both are present, they equally express themselves to develop another phenotype that is different from A or B. Dash is the exact position of gene on the chromosome. It is locus, beta. Number 66, enzyme used by bacteria to cut DNA of the invading virus for its protection is restriction endonuclease, such as EcoR1. By PCR, we mean polymerase chain reaction, which is a widely used process for copying specific sequence of nucleotides or DNA DNA made by joining pieces from two or more different sources is recombinant DNA, or it is also known as chimeric DNA. And DNA ligase is used for this purpose after separation of these fragments by using restriction enzymes. So delta is the right option in this case. Number 69, deficiency of which enzyme causes combined immunodeficiency syndrome? Sphere combined immunodeficiency syndrome, or SCID, is caused by adenosine deaminase, missing adenosine deaminase enzyme. If there is no ADA, a person having defective gene for ADA enzyme will not develop its immune system because ADA enzyme is involved in the maturation of B and T cells. The next question from biotechnology is chemical nature of the primer which was used in PCR process. They are commonly DNA primers. Sorry, the answer key is not marked right over here. They're DNA primers actually. RNA is not the right option. DNA is the right option because RNA primers, they're used in the natural replication process where RNA DNA polymerase 1 can replace these primers. But in case of PCR, there are no other enzymes other than Taq polymerase which can replace these primers. So right option in this case is delta, and it was the right option marked by the UHS as well. Number 70, delta is the right option. Number 71, organs specialized to perform different functions but structurally alike. They are known as homologous organs, which are having different functions but their structure and their origin is same, as forelimb has been shown in this picture belonging to cheetah, man, whale, or bat. There are different functions, but basic arrangement of bone is same. In bat, it is being used for flight, whale is using its flipper for swimming, cheetah for running, and man for grasping. So right option is beta. 72. The actual or preserved remains of organisms, they are termed as fossils and they indicate the past life. Divergent evolution is produced by homologous organs, or you can say divergent evolution produces homologous organs where common ancestor is modified to form different descendants. The term loss of appetite refers to disease anorexia nervosa, and it is common among teenage girls. Skull, vertebral column, ribs, and sternum, they form axial skeleton, while appendicular skeleton has been shown in colored part over here. These questions were included in 2018 paper, but in the recent syllabus as well as in the syllabus of 2019, this portion was excluded. Salivary amylase begin to digest starch to shorter polysaccharide and then to maltose. So right option is Charlie. Number 77. Number of salivary glands found in the human oral cavity is 6 or 3 pairs. The first part of large intestine is cecum. And if the lipopolysaccharides did not appear in the wall of bacteria on staining, then it could be known as gram-positive bacteria. Bacteria has been re-included in the syllabus. So dear students, you must focus at this question that lipopolysaccharides are found in the cell wall of gram-negative bacteria, but gram-positive bacteria, they do not have lipopolysaccharides. Instead, they have teichoic acid or lipoteichoic acid, which is specifically found in the cell wall of gram-positive bacteria. Rod-shaped bacteria, they are known as bacilli, while rounded bacteria, they are known as cocci. It is also included in the syllabus now. Following group is the example of acylomate. It is a part of syllabus as well. Acoelomates, they include platyhelminthes, pseudocoelomates, escalmens, roundworm, and coelomates annelid to other phyla, annelid to chordates. So right option is delta. Conversion of ammonia into nitrate is nitrification and it takes place in the nitrogen cycle. Number 83, growth in the larvae of young arthropode is restricted by exoskeleton. That's why they have to carry out the ecdysis process. Chitin, which makes the exoskeleton of insect, is further hardened by the deposition of protein and calcium carbonate. Number 85, yeast, a unicellular fungi, that belongs to the group Ascomycota or Ascomycetes. Number 86, an area previously supporting life is made bare. The subsequent recolonization is called secondary succession, as in case of the forest fire. Number 87, scapula is the shoulder bone or bone of the shoulder plate. And last question in this paper was, which combination is the example of ball and socket joint? Ball and socket joint, they're found in the pectoral girdle as well as in the pelvic girdle at hip and shoulder points. That was all about this paper, but the last portion it includes mainly the questions which were not included in the syllabus of 2019 and 20. I hope so it will mark some important questions for you. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening. Allah Hafiz.